Hi guys, I hope you can all see and hear me. Welcome to our session today. It's all about the delegate experience on Glisser. Now, I can see a lot of you are just joining, so I'll keep talking a bit for a couple of seconds, give you a chance to unmute your audio if that's not working. So you can check that on the top video panel. And just to let you know, I'll be covering a lot of different polls and surveys during the session. So when you get to those polls, you need to select an answer and click the submit button on the right hand side of the screen when you are answering your polls. That way I can see your responses and you'll be able to see the slides after as well. It's an absolutely boiling day, so I've actually stolen my partner's study, which has got a tiny little window that gives me a lot of wind. I think we have most people here, so I might get started in a second. Now, just to let you know, we've got a Q&A box on the for comments or questions during the session. Feel free to use it. It's right under the video panel, and we'll cover any of these during the follow-up discussion on Zoom after this presentation. So just to get us started, I wanted to launch a quick poll just to see whether you can see or hear me. So I've sent this out to you guys. I can already see that you can see and hear me, and no one seems to be having any issues. So what I need you guys to do is to select those options and click submit. The submit button is on the right hand side of the screen. I can see that one person can't see or hear me, so I'll ask them to put something in the comment box. And anyone else, if you have any issues, just use that comment box and my colleagues will be there to help you. Perfect. Now, just to get to talk about the agenda, what we're covering today. So this is all about getting the most out of your sponsorship. This session is specifically about making sure that you know what a delegate experience is, what they'll be seeing and feeling and clicking on when they're at your session. We'll be covering content hubs in our third session. So there's one later on this week and one next week. If you don't have those in your diary, give me, Rebecca, or Ellie a shout and we'll get those in for you. Now, today we're going to be covering a little bit about the event, which most of you are really familiar with now, but I'll talk you through the program and the format and give you a quick overview of delegate registrations, which I'm sure you're all curious about, and then we'll delve right into the session. So it's really about your presence, your session, presenting with Glisser, the different interactive features. Then we've got a little short section about ensuring the event is a success for you. Some next steps and deadlines so that you guys can see what's coming up. And then I'll ask you to join us for a follow-up discussion with the whole Heart Square team on Zoom so we can really discuss anything that you want. So just so you guys know who's in the session with you, we've got a lot of different organizations here. Just have a quick glance, see who's there. I may not have caught all of you if you've registered at the end, but we've got a lot of people attending. I can see on YouTube, we've got quite a lot. I'm not going to flip screens in the middle of my presentations. So on to the first poll. So this is a single select picture poll. And what you guys need to do is click on the answer where you're joining me from, and then click submit. So if I send this poll out to you guys, hopefully you can all see and answer it. I can see the responses coming in. Most people seem to be in their living room or the home study. No one's in the office taking full advantage of air conditioning. I do actually wish that I was in the office because the air conditioning there was really, really nice. And that is something I miss right now. So let me show you guys, for all of you who've completed it. Anyone who hasn't, you've got a couple of more seconds to click that submit button. But these are your responses. So 13% from the kitchen, 30% in the living room, home office and the study are nearly 50%. So a lot of you are working from home as it is. I think we've got one person from the office as well. And no one's outdoors in the baking heat. So on to our next poll. This is a simple yes, no, I haven't poll. This is all about watching our Glisser playlist. Just like the poll before, what you need to do here is select the answer that you want and click that submit button. So the Glisser playlist, just so you guys know, is a short set of videos. There's 9 videos. They're between 1 and 2 minutes long. And if any of this session's a bit mystifying, you don't know how the features work, those are really, really good guides on how to use them. It's all about presenting on Glisser, how to use the polls, how to run your session. Really, really useful. If you haven't watched it, I really would advise that you watch it. If you don't have it, we'll send you straight after the session. So please, guys, just watch that session. So I think only some of you have watched it. Really, really, really encourage you to do it. So on to what the program, which all of you are really familiar with. So the structure of the day is the same across the 3 days. We've got plenty of time for networking breaks. We've got plenty of unique content. I'll take you from the top. So right from the morning, we've got the welcome, the highlights of today's sessions. For those of you with 60-second videos and with your TED style talks, this is where we'll be playing your video. Then we've got an opening keynote, the lightning rounds from 9:35 to 10 o'clock. So really rapid fire, not much content before you guys. Everyone be really fresh, very exciting round. And then we go straight into the networking time at the Ask the Expert hubs. So this is dedicated networking time built in across the 3 days, so that delegates are encouraged to go and view the content you guys are putting together, and go to your content hubs, ask you guys the questions, really to drive that delegate engagement with you. We've then got a break, and then we've got the 20-minute TED style talk. So they're happening in 2 sets, and there's 4 parallel at any time. So this is across all the 3 days, and it's from 10:30 to 11:10. Right after that, we've got another break, because it's really important to give delegates those breaks. And then we've got the rest of the day. So whether it's a panel session, the launch of the Salesforce guide, we've got other things as well, the closing keynotes, the closing remarks, and then fun and games at the end just for 15 minutes. So really, really packed days, but with lots of time for delegates to take breaks, lots of time to explore the content hubs, and really structured to make sure that you guys get the most traffic to your content hubs as well. Now, I'm sure you guys are curious about how delegate acquisition is going. So just so you guys know, we've hit 600 registered delegates, which is a huge number and really, really good for this time. Now that we've got a lot of your content, the titles, the prices, the videos, we've started publicizing them, and people are reacting really, really well. So we are doing all and everything we can to get delegates to Chase. And I just wanted to show you guys some of the logos that of the delegate organizations attending. I've made them really small just so I can fit all of them on the screen, but there's loads and loads because we've got over 600. Just in terms of why are delegates attending, this is actually really, really interesting for me. If you have a look at this slide, you can see that 79% of our delegates have said they're either there to meet suppliers, learn from industry experts, or learn from your case studies. And that's a huge amount of people attending Chase to learn, to know more about you, to know more about how your past projects were successful, know about the challenges you guys have overcome, and really, really promising in terms of delivering those sessions that you're doing, because I know a lot of you are doing exactly the kind of content that resonates with this audience. The profile is really, really good as well in terms of the sector breakdowns. So we've got 55% of the audience coming from charities, and then 45% are from the membership association sector. So really, really good split. It's the same split as Chase last year, and it's one that is actually represented in our marketing database. So it's not really surprising, but it's the split that you guys wanted, and it really works for everyone because we've got a good section of the non-profit sector here at Chase. So in terms of the seniority as well, Chase is a leadership conference, and the delegate list represents that. We've got 85% of our delegates coming from a leadership or managerial position. We've got 7% coming from board level, and we've got 8% from operational support. So a really, really good solid seniority from the audience, exactly the kind of decision makers that you guys want to talk to. I've taken out some of the job titles to show you that we're hitting the right leadership profile. So we've got CEOs, chairs, associate directors, marketing and comms managers, support database managers, program managers. I could read them all out to you, but I'll let you read it out yourself and just see that we're hitting the right kind of people. We've got the right kind of people attending Chase, and we're attracting the right audience. Now, I wanted to show you guys an example of a multi-select poll, and this is coming up next. Just like the other polls, you need to click your answers and submit. But with this one, you can click more than one answer. So you click that little tick box next to it, and then you click submit, and then I can see your answers coming through. And I can actually see these coming in live. So once you've had a chance to think about it and put your answers in, when you're using this kind of poll in Clisser during your session, it's important to think that these kind of questions, these kind of answers take people a little bit longer. to answer. I'm not asking you to go and open up your comms plan or anything like that, but just in terms of the amount of information you're presenting, the amount of thinking you're asking the delegates to do, and make sure that you build in enough time and put the polls at the right place in your presentation. I put it here because I can take a little break, talk to you guys a little bit, and you guys can fill out those answers. Now, I can see that a lot of you are thinking about industry events for next year. Your own events. We've got content marketing coming in high. A lot of you using social media. So I'm going to give you a couple of more seconds to click that submit button once you've made your choices. The good thing about seeing the results live is you can kind of tell when people have finished answering. I can see that the graphs in front of me haven't really moved much. So I'm just going to share this now to you guys, so you can have a look at what everyone else's plans are. So this is the kind of unique content that is really easy to create in Glissa. And this isn't information anyone else has. This isn't information anyone else has asked this particular group of people. And it's really, really valuable to me to know what your marketing activities are next year, what your plans are, just so we can talk about them. So I'm sure you guys want to hear more about presenting on Glissa. So exactly what you can do. Now, for this presentation I've used, I've done a PDF. It's just really safe. It works across all devices, but you can use PowerPoint. You can have video content in this. If I wanted to drop in a video, I would use a YouTube or a Vimeo link, and that would play in the place of a slide. And we need the poll questions as well. So don't forget to send us those. These are all part of your presentation, and you can use any of them. Just in terms of options of delivering your session, you've got 3 different options to deliver your session. You can do it live, like I'm doing now. You can have it pre-recorded, like I almost wish I was doing just because it's so hot. Or you can have semi-live, which is a mix of recorded and live. Live is really, really good for single presenters who are really confident, who want to interact and respond to the poll results live. Pre-record is really good for multiple presenters, those who are less confident, and those who want to collect information for later on rather than just interact. And semi-live is best for multiple presenters who want to interact, or anyone who wants to de-risk their session. And the important thing about all of these options is you can use the polls, you can use the surveys, whether you're live, whether you're pre-recorded, you're semi-live. The only thing that pre-recording stops you from doing is talking about the poll results like I was doing there. Now, for a lot of you, that may not be as important. For you, data collection may be important. With the data, you can do lots of follow-up, you can do lots of analysis. So have a think about what works for you, and if you're going live, why you'd want to do that. Because really, unless you want to talk about it in front of people and talk about the answers, the benefits you may want to pick your choice depending on that. So a bit more detail for you guys on delivering your session live. You can live stream from your laptop. That's what I'm doing now. I'm just using YouTube. You can control your presentations and poll questions through Glissa. So I'm just using my arrow keys front and back and space bar to launch the polls and show you guys the polls. There's not much else to it. It's quite simple. Works pretty much like PowerPoint, except with polls added. And you can share your presenter link with other speakers. So if you wanted to hand over control of the slides halfway through, you can do that as well through the link that we give you. In terms of delivering your session pre-recorded, this is just your speaking opportunity that you can pre-record, get to the version you want, and send to us. This includes your slide deck. So your videos will autoplay at the start of your session. You can monitor questions on the day live. You can respond to these after the session. And they're really, really good for lightning talks. With lightning talks, you've only got 5 minutes. So if you do want to pre-record them, do that. If you wanted to use the Glissa engagement features, we can top and tail your video with polls and the other Glissa, the other engagement features. So really poll at the start, poll at the end if you wanted, and really use them sparingly where they give you insight. You won't be able to speak about the results of the polls or the quizzes, but you can still use them. Now, Simulive is a combination of a pre-recorded session and a live session. So we'll switch your presentation at the right time. So for the pre-recorded elements, they could include your presentation, an interview with a client, video talking heads of a client. For the live elements, you could have the Q&A, the polls, or the surveys, and you could do it whichever way you want. So if you're thinking about this, let us know, and we can work with you to make sure that you're comfortable with that. Now, This is an example of a quiz slide. And just like the other ones, you'll have to select the option and click submit. But there is a right answer to this question. So which of these is not one of the recording options for Chase Livestream? Is it live? Is it pre-recorded? Is it virtual reality? Is it semi-live? There's also a leaderboard function. So if you want to chain lots of quiz questions together to create that kind of experience, that's possible as well. So just showing you guys where you are. I'll give you a couple of seconds to keep entering those answers. But we've got 89% of you know that virtual reality isn't something that's possible on Glisser yet. I'm sure with the rate that event technology is moving, virtual reality will be with us imminently, but it's not for Chase this year. So related links for your TED Start talk. For those of you with TED Start talks, related links are really, really useful. You can see an example of what we've used the related link for, which is just to join us on a follow-up session on Zoom after this. Don't click that yet because that will take you out of this. Wait till the end of this presentation and we can go to the follow-up discussion. But the related links are really useful to direct delegates to your content hub, to direct delegates to polls and quizzes in your hub, to ask questions in your hub. And there's a lot of different things you can use them for to signpost people to make sure that delegate flow works in your favor. For those of you with lightning talks, we've put the networking break to explore Ask the Experts hub just after your sessions. So it's still equally important that you signpost them during your session, telling them what they can get from your content hub, why they should visit, go ask a question, complete a poll, we have a prize draw. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And just in terms of these polls, I'm running you through a lot of these now, but really these should be all about analytics and lead gen. There are icebreaker polls and questions, but if you don't get data that you can use afterwards, usefully use afterwards from after your session, I would ask you to rethink your polls, because we want them to be about lead gen. We want them to be that little bit of gold dust information that only you have, that you can use to tell them why they should buy your services or product. So I'll leave this here just for a couple of seconds to give you an overview of the polls. We've used all of these today, or will imminently, to give you guys a good idea about what all of these are and how a delegate experiences them. So this is a poll. It's a ranking poll, so a bit different from the other ones. All about, and in this case, I've asked you, what are your main reasons for attending Chase? So with this poll, you can click the up and down arrows next to the words to move things up and down. You put them in the ranking order that you want, and then you click submit, just like the other polls. For each delegate, this is shown in a different order. So it's not like what you see is what everyone else sees, and so the results will be skewed. It's randomized for each delegate to give you really, really good results. And from what I can see, it's a really, really good split here, with a lot of people attending for a lot of different reasons. I'll give you guys a couple of more seconds to get your answers in. And this is once again one of those polls where you want to give people a bit more time. It's more difficult to rank 5 things than it is to just select one answer, and you have to acknowledge that in your presentation. It may mean that you have to talk a bit more about it, you have to talk about something else, but make sure you build in that time for the types of polls that you want. So to show you guys the answers, 14% are for a product launch, 24% for brand exposure and awareness, 25% for lead gen, 13 to meet other providers, and 23 to showcase thought leadership. So really good split here. These have all been ranked according to your answers, and it's a really, really good mix of reasons for attending Chase. And delegates will see that it'll all be unique content, and it'll be easy to stand out there because all of you have different things to showcase, different things to offer, and different reasons for attending. So when you think about your own polls and quiz questions, think about understanding your audience. Frame your question around the issues the delegates are facing. So the types of data you want to collect, and really show that you know the sector. Ask relevant questions that experts would ask. And that's how you engage the delegates in these questions. You want them to be useful information to you, but also show that you understand an issue to the delegates. Just in terms of icebreaker questions, if you wanted to do at the start, things like what region or country you're joining from, what type of organization do you work for, Is this your virtual conference? Are really good icebreaker questions. So you have to build in time. So I would suggest if you've got time in one of the longer sessions to use one of these to really break the ice and show delegates who's in the room with them. Signposting at the end of your session is really, really important as well. So your content hub is there. You have to tell delegates what they'll get specifically and why they should visit your stand. What you want to do is to make it a no-brainer for them. So things like, would you like a copy of the presentation? Would you like to join our mailing list? Would you like a copy of our ebook or guide? Would you like a free consultation and health check, a one-to-one meeting? These are all good poll questions to end your session with. Just make sure that whether you're putting them in your session or your content hub, you're driving delegates to that. You're making sure that people know why they should visit. And that's really, really important in making sure that the audience flow works for you. Now, in terms of our upcoming sessions, we've got our final session on Ask the Expert hubs on the 13th and the 20th of August. So it's all about finalizing content, live streaming into your hub, networking, analytics, all these things. So we hopefully you will be able to join one or the other of the sessions, but let me know if not, we will record them. But it is really good for you to attend live just because there'll be follow-on discussions and you'll get a chance to discuss things with us and the wider Heart Square team, not just me. In terms of next steps, the survey will be sent out after this session to gather your initial thoughts. Whether you might present live or not live, recorded, semi-live, what kind of polls and features you might use, the type of interactions you'd like to have with delegates. If you answered this survey, it gives us the ability to help you with all of this. We're only asking you this so that we can help you prepare the right way for the options that you've chosen and really help you make the most of it. If there's any questions about how to use the polls or the quizzes, how to use them for lead gen, feel free to get in touch with me or Rebecca and we'll be able to help you. Just for your diary, we want poll questions on the 14th, so that's this Friday. So I hope all of you are working on them. We need presentation slides and videos by the 21st. And we need the content for your Ask the Expert hub on the 27th. So these are just dates for you to keep in mind. Now, this is an example of a star rating question. I'm asking you to rate how prepared you are for Chase, with 1 star being not very and 5 stars being very. And this is an example of a really quick, easy slide. So you guys, it doesn't take you very long. It's quite instinctive. So I don't need to spend that much time explaining this. It's really easy for delegates. You do still need to click that submit button. So I'll give you a couple of more seconds to do this. And this really helps me because if any of you have written 1 star, me or Rebecca will be following up with you to make sure that you're okay. Now, this is a different type of slide. This is one of the ones that takes a bit longer for delegates. It's a free text question, so you can put anything you want into that comment box. I'm asking you what help you'd like from us before the event. So if you need anything, just pop it in. This isn't shared with other people. I can see it's taking you guys a while to do this, so I'll give you a couple of more seconds just to do this. And just reiterate that when you're using these polls, when you're using these surveys, make sure that it's useful information for you, things that you can use for lead gen afterwards. I'm going to give you just 5 more seconds. So I'll count you down 5. Oh, I can see a lot of people click submit all of a sudden. I can see a lot of answers. So I think you guys are pretty much done. So 4, 3, 2, 1. We're on to the next one. Almost on to the next one. Right, guys, so after this, I'm going to be talking to you about referrals, about using word of mouth, what you can do to really make sure that people attend your session. As you guys saw when we were showing you the delegate numbers, we're doing really, really well there. So we've got over 600 people registered. And what we need from you now is for you guys to talk to them about about your session so that they know that you're speaking there. they know to pick you over the other sessions, and make sure that you are doing the most on your part to publicize your session as well, because there is a limit to what we can do. We can bring all the delegates to the session, but part of it is about you making sure that you bring those people to your session as well. And we've given you a lot of tools to signpost that to people. And so on to my next slide, if you give me just a second. While this loads, just because there's people still answering the polls and surveys, I think it's come there. I think it's important that you guys just read this really quickly. You want to showcase yourself as industry experts and thought leaders to your customer base. So what they want to do is hear what you've done with other clients, learn how else you can help them. They can, and really bringing your clients there can open up new conversations on your behalf. Bringing your clients there really makes sure that you are showcasing your successes. When your clients talk to other people during the networking times, they'll be talking about how great you are. And a vast majority of the vendor selections that happen at Chase are run outside of Hart Square. So really make sure that you're publicizing your session to your audience, bring them with you, and make sure that when they're talking to other people, they will be talking about you. Now, just in terms a bit more about this, the conference is free and educational, so it's really easy to bring someone along. It's designed for your customers, whatever stage of their project lifecycle they are. And really, we want to make sure that when they're there, you'll be connecting your customers to our delegates. All your case studies will be shared with the delegates. So bring as many of your customers as you can, so they can share their stories. If you're talking about one of your clients, you'd want to have them at your session. This is your opportunity to show your clients that you're thought leaders, that you support the industry, and really make sure that your session's packed. So just on to the next poll. This is an example of a date picker poll. So this is all about when or why will you start promoting your presence at Chase to your audience. So what I want you guys to do here is to start selecting the date from the drop-down menu, that menu, and then click submit. So I can already see that a lot of you are answering. A lot of you've started promoting before this session, which is really good. A lot of you are imminently about to start promoting your presence. And that's really the reason that I sent you out all those packs with the assets in LinkedIn, with the email banners. Really, if there's something else we can do to help you promote your session, let us know, because we're happy to support. Now, after this, I'm going to ask you guys to join us on our follow-on discussion. So this will be one of the related buttons at the bottom of your screen, or you can click that link there, which will come out as well. So I will see you guys shortly for the follow-up discussion. Thank you for joining me today, and I will catch you guys in a second.